So by now you probably have seen the news that there's going to be realm transfers from all the different realms in Mists of Pandaria to these mega PvE realms. Now what Blizzard has actually done is really interesting. Instead of having people transfer to, say, the biggest existing server, they've actually gone and picked a very small PvE server in Pagle, and everybody is going to be able to transfer there. Now, there are a lot of positives and a huge amount of negatives with this decision as well, and I want to get into all of them. So the big news being that Blizzard, as they say here, they've been discussing for a while transferring everybody to a giant mega server. Everybody is way too spread out right now, and it means that it's actually very frustrating to make groups, to make raids. I sit there for hours trying to get a shaman for a raid, for example. With next week's maintenance and patch deploying on September 23rd, they're going to be enabling free character transfers to every single server to Pagle, basically. The PvP realms will also be converted to PvE realms, and they're basically doing everything they can to push you off of the existing servers onto Pagle. Now, at the same time, there will be a giant PvP server option as well, and that'll be Grobulus. Everyone can go there if they want to do PvP. The first question everybody is asking is, why Pagle? Because if you look at Pagle, it is, what, like the 7th to 6th most populated server? Not that many people play on it. A lot of people look at Pagle, whether fairly or unfairly, as a server for more casual players, for players that are not, very seriously raiding. And there are a number of problems as well with picking this smaller server. For one thing, every single guild that is on a different server is going to have to remake their guild. In a lot of cases, they won't have their existing guild name. A lot of people transferring also won't have their existing character names. So we're going to have to completely start fresh with new identities. When you go on Reddit, a lot of people are saying, why didn't they just pick an entirely new realm and have everybody transfer there? That way everybody would have been able to keep their names, presumably. It would have been just a better overall decision. A lot of people are saying also, why didn't they just connect the servers together? That way everybody could have remained on their existing server. And then, for example, I would have been able to do raids with people on Grobulus. Why is it that everybody has to be on one server to raid together when the technology is obviously there for people to be able to play on separate servers? Royanverse, for example, talking about why didn't they just do cross-realm raiding? Honestly, the more I think about it, that decision would have been way, way better. You can see Presenex here. He's saying, basically, I'm not going to transfer unless I'm forced. So I honestly think Blizzard, by doing these optional free transfers, it's clearly the cheapest, easiest way for them to do it. But I think the result is going to be actually very frustrating. The guild says we're going to wait and see what happens. Yeah. Picked a smaller server. If you wanted to move, you had a better chance to get your name. So going to the forums, we can also see some complaints. People not liking the idea of being forced onto a mega server, because basically Blizzard is going all in on layers. If you look at their post, they're saying we're going to actually have more layers than ever. There might be 20 layers, there might be 30 layers, and that makes it that much harder to do cool events. For example, the server doesn't feel very classic at this point, though I suppose MoP doesn't really feel classic at this point either. We do see some positive stuff, though. There is Z-Pumper excited about the world PvP aspect, and the Grobulus decision, the idea of keeping one PvP server open, it is at least somewhat exciting to me. The thing is, Grobulus has really had like maybe 1,000, 2,000 players for the entirety of MoP, so I'm not really sure it's going to end up being this crazy, insane PvP destination that everyone's excited about. And I kind of think it's going to be bait if you go to Grobulus, because there's not going to be enough people for raiding. And really, realistically, Throne of Thunder, that's when I want to be raiding. I'm not sure I'm really going to be doing a ton of open world PvP at the shrines, for example. We do have one conspiracy theory, too, which is that the Blizzard devs actually play on Pagle, which might be the case for some of them, which would explain why they decided to go with Pagle. It does seem like these PvE realms with lots of players is actually the Blizzard dream for the Classic anyways. I think, honestly, if Blizzard could pick how they did a Classic Fresh or a TBC Fresh, they would go with a giant PvE realm. It's just less headaches for them. But overall, at least for me, the thing that I'm kind of disappointed about is the fact that I'm going to be losing my name, most likely. I have the NOHITJEROME name on Fairlina, I have it on Benediction, and I'm not going to be having it on Pagle, so that is a little bit of a bummer at least. Overall, though, I mean, obviously this had to happen. Like, there just aren't enough people on each of the servers to really facilitate raiding. I think this had to happen. I think it's probably overall a good thing. The execution always leaves something to be desired with Blizzard. It always feels like there was a better option they could have gone with, which is linking all the servers together. And the fact that they didn't link the servers together and went this option, I think it's going to leave a lot of people stranded. They won't even know these transfers are happening at all. And probably it's not going to be like a beautiful one-to-one transition of everybody merging together. So overall, what are you guys planning to do? I'm going to definitely be transferring all of my characters to Pagle. Maybe one single character that I don't plan on raiding onto Grobulus. Yeah, the overall best choice, at least in my opinion, is go to Pagle.